The hippie movement, which flourished in the 1960s, is one of the most emblematic cultural phenomena of the 20th century. Born in the United States, this movement encompassed a vast range of ideologies and lifestyles, promoting peace, love, and freedom in a context marked by war, repression, and social changes. Through this video, we will explore its origins, characteristics, impact, and legacy. The hippie movement has its roots in the counterculture of the 1950s, especially in the so-called beatnik, and in the literature of authors such as Jack Kerouac and Allen Ginsberg. These writers and poets advocated an alternative life, seeking spirituality and individual freedom. However, the true rise of the hippie movement came in the 1960s, amid political and social tensions, including the Vietnam War, the civil rights movement, and the rise of youth culture. San Francisco, and in particular the Haight-Ashbury neighborhood, became the epicenter of the hippie movement. During the summer of
1967, known as the Summer of Love, thousands of young people from all over the country congregated in this area, seeking a life of peace, love, and experimentation. The hippie movement was characterized by a series of principles and lifestyles that defined it: peace and love. Hippies promoted peace and love as responses to violence and war. They vehemently opposed the Vietnam War and organized peaceful demonstrations to advocate for disarmament and reconciliation. Spirituality. Many hippies moved away from organized religions and sought spiritual alternatives, drawing inspiration from Eastern philosophies such as Buddhism and Hinduism. Meditation, yoga, and the use of psychoactive substances such as LSD became common practices in his search for transcendence. Alternative lifestyle. Hippie clothing, which included colorful clothing, flowers, and peace symbols, became a cultural icon. This style was a declaration of independence and a rejection of established social norms. Music. Music played a fundamental role in the hippie movement. Artists like Bob Dylan, Joan Baez, Jimi Hendrix, and bands like the Grateful Dead and Jefferson Airplane were essential in spreading messages of peace and love. The Woodstock Festival in 1969 symbolized the culmination of this musical and cultural era. Social and cultural impact. The hippie movement had a significant impact on American and world society. Although in many cases it was seen as an ephemeral phenomenon, its ideals of peace and love resonated deeply and contributed to lasting social changes. Civil rights and feminism. Hippies supported the civil rights movement and, although they were not its founders, their focus on equality and social justice helped galvanize efforts on these fronts. Additionally, the feminist movement gained strength during this time, challenging traditional gender roles. Environmental awareness. The hippies' connection with nature and their rejection of consumerism also laid the foundation for the environmental movement of the late 20th century. Celebration of the earth and respect for the environment became pillars of his philosophy. Popular culture. The hippie influence extended to fashion, cinema, literature, and art. Films of the era, such as Easy Rider and Woodstock, captured the spirit of the movement, while psychedelic art became a visual symbol of this era. Legacy of the hippie movement. Although the hippie movement began to decline in the late 1970s, its legacy lives on in contemporary culture. The fight for peace, equality, and individual freedom remains relevant in today's society. Elements of the hippie aesthetic and its philosophy can be seen in modern movements, from environmental activism to today's festival music. Furthermore, the hippie movement has been the subject of constant analysis and reinterpretation in popular culture, influencing later generations who seek a more just and peaceful world. The hippie movement was more than just a counterculture, it was a cry for freedom and a search for meaning in a tumultuous world. Through his ideals of peace, love, and spirituality, he left an impact that continues to resonate today. In this video, we have explored its origins, characteristics, and legacy, remembering that, in the midst of difficulties, there is always room for love and hope. If you liked this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content about history and culture. The hippie movement in the 60s. The hippie movement broke out as a cry for freedom in the midst of war and repression. With their motto of peace and love, hippies opposed the Vietnam War and promoted equality and civil rights.